This is the Nations Conspire channel. Welcome to today's show. While everybody's distracted by what's going on with the stock market, the left and right divide, the paradigm that they've created to keep civilians down each other's throats instead of paying attention to what these globalists are really doing, which is conspiring against us. While all that's happening, I had mentioned in a previous video, they are meeting, the United Nations is meeting to discuss putting on a carbon tax on all shipments. Okay, so all shipments that come from the sea will have a carbon tax. Of course, this affects you and me, but we're not thinking in terms of financially about getting taxed. We're thinking in terms of a carbon tax. And it's very, very important because once they put a carbon tax on the shipping industry, it then will move to airlines. It'll then move all around, then to ground, FedEx, UPS, everything else. And it's all about getting the carbon tax in place first. They're going to make it so that you understand what it is and that you begin following the carbon tax. They need to teach people about their enslavement tax, but the majority of people won't understand what it is. The carbon tax is, again, to make it very clear, it is to slow down your movements, to keep you more enslaved in your home, to prevent you from traveling, going on vacation, visiting grandma, and really to make you a slave inside of your home as a prisoner. And that's what they tried to do in 2020 that most people didn't talk about. They tried to get you used to it. They tried to see how many people would listen, how many people would self-quarantine, how many people would stay locked down. And then how did people come out of it? Did they start going out more? And what we've actually seen is exactly what they wanted to happen, that more people have adapted to doing things online. And that's part of this AI governance that they're bringing in. We're going to see a shift. This is part of the reason they're tearing down the education system. They want children educated via AI, not via a human. That's why you hear a lot of these stories out there constantly about female teachers now going after their students. They're pushing this stuff out there every day to plant seeds in your head so that you accept the change, which is, again, going to be AI education. Everything's going to be run through AI. And the goal is to get you to stay home and to leave your home as little as possible. And the carbon tax is going to play into them implementing what is called the carbon footprint. This will be something they could track, not just your every movement, your every purchase, your behavior. Because remember, Larry Fink told us, this is all about behavioral control.
Well, behaviors are going to have to change, and this is one thing we're asking companies. You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock, we are forcing behaviors.
So the government representatives are meeting this week to finalize the first ever global carbon tax on ocean shipping emissions in a move that opponents could say could disproportionately hit American consumers. The initiative is driven by the International Maritime Organization, okay? So the International Maritime Organization is a tentacle, like I said previously, is the best way to describe it. It's a tentacle of the United Nations. They're supposed to be promoting safe, secure, and efficient shipping globally, focusing on maritime safety, security, environmental protection, and related legal matters. And now they're going to be the ones who bring in a carbon tax. Now, they're going to start disguising the carbon tax because of the pushback that came out of Canada. The civilians actually pushed back and revolted against this. They were not on board, okay? That's a very important thing to note because when civilians are on board with things, they'll continue forward. If there's too much pushback, they'll pivot, and this is a pivot. You're going to start seeing this now in industries like shipping and in airlines. Airlines are going to start traveling less because of carbon emission. That's part of what they're doing with sabotaging the airlines, which I've covered for the last couple of years, specifically the last couple of months with some of their false flags and some of their PSYOP operations to get you afraid to travel, right? They've been doing it for a while now. They're going to start having airlines fly less. They're going to say it's for safety reasons, for all this other stuff, and then, of course, start bringing in how airlines are responsible for the majority of carbon emissions. Thus, you won't be able to fly because it's in the betterment of humanity if we, curb our behavior and we stay home more. And then the airlines, of course, will be good human beings too, and they won't fly as much. They don't care about making money. The people will be fully compensated. Don't worry about it. You'll be taxed more because your flights are going to cost more money to go from somewhere like New York to Florida than it used to cost. And the airlines don't care about taking a hit. This is about initiating and following through with a carbon footprint, which is all about behavioral control. And again, don't forget, people like Elon Musk, who are full-on proponents of the carbon tax, they've openly admitted to it. The problem is that the majority of people don't understand what it is, right? So when we talk about reducing your carbon footprint, it means getting all smart appliances for the most part inside of your home. They want you to live in a smart home. That's the end of it all, is them telling you to drive electric and live inside of a smart home. That gives them control over everything in your home. So like a prisoner, when you're in your home, they'll have the ability remotely to shut off your electricity, to shut off your power, to play with your temperature gauge on your AC unit and your heater. Okay, that's what people don't realize is the point of all this smart stuff. That's why, like I said jokingly in a previous video, where they're telling you get a smart washer and dryer. Huh? And what is that going to do exactly? I mean, are you putting it? Obviously, you got to manually put it in the machine, right? Unless you're ready to bring in a Tesla robot to put it in for you. But let's be real. Right now, those aren't out there on the market. So everybody's putting it in manually. What are you doing? Shutting the door? Going to drop a deuce? And then from your phone, it's easier for you to open the app, look for it, find it, start it, set the time, than actually just pressing start, right? They're trying to get you to get all smart appliances without you even realizing why you're getting it. Nobody knows why they're buying smart refrigerators. Anybody doing anything with that? What are you doing with the smart refrigerator? You're up in your room and you're like, I'd like to turn the temperature down inside the air conditioner. I don't want those hard-boiled eggs to get too cold. What? Makes zero sense. But it makes sense if you understand what they're actually doing. So the carbon footprint is the ultimate New World Order concept that they need to bring about. And it's a product of the United Nations, okay? So let's take a look at the United Nations, who are the ones who are responsible right now for trying to attach this to any shipment that occurs on a sea vessel. They want to be able to tell these people who are bringing the shipments through the sea that, hey, you know what? You've got a big old ship. You got to get rid of it. You got to get one that's got, solar panels on it, that's carbon friendly. And they'll say, well, how's it going to get across the ocean? Not going to have enough energy to get across the ocean without diesel. I mean, what are they going to do? Then they're going to either going to shut down, or they're going to say, well, we can't ship as often, right? Because they won't let us ship as often. Or, of course, it begins with taxing the consumer, which is part of it as well, killing off the middle class, devaluing the dollar. So I recently talked about the United Nations. I've talked about them many times. Obviously, everybody out there is familiar. You've heard the term United Nations. All these globalists go and meet at the United Nations. And even recently, I talked about Val Kilmer, right? People were sad about Val Kilmer's death. He had pictures of himself outside of the United Nations, right? All these celebrities go to the UN. They love to pose in front of that picture where they tie up the end of the gun, trying to say, let's get rid of guns, right? Even though the celebrities are the ones who actually promote gun violence, right? As opposed to owning a gun to protect your family and protect your home, which is a necessity in this unhinged, insane world. The celebrities are the ones who actually plant the seeds to use guns violently, because all of their movies, like ones that Val Kilmer and all these celebrities are in, they're always using guns and they're always using them violently, right? Those movies that you see aren't about, Ryan Reynolds trying to protect his home from an intruder. It's about Ryan Reynolds being a superhero, shooting the bad guy, shooting this person, shooting that one, right? Planting seeds for people to be violent, kind of like they do with everything, right? They're the ones who plant the seeds for people to think that they're another gender. They're the ones who plant the seeds for people to drive recklessly, right? All these ridiculous movies like Fast and the Furious where they drive insanely, right? So it's funny that they actually have this outside of the UN, but it's even funnier is that the celebrities go and pose in front of it and act like, oh, I'm so anti-gun, when they're the ones who aren't only showing you guns in all these films, making people want guns, these insane people, they're the ones who are actually promoting gun violence, because the people who commit crimes with guns or own guns and act ridiculous with them are all seeing it like monkey see, monkey do from the movies and thinking they're cool by getting it, right? And normal, regular people are just owning guns because they want to protect themselves from, some of the things that the government's trying to do right now. And you might remember as well at the UN, the sculpture outside. I covered this years ago. The sculpture that looked a lot like the end times beast that's referred to in Daniel chapter 7 and in the book of Revelation chapter 13, right? So that's a coincidence as well. This was just sitting outside of the United Nations. And I actually want to tie in with Agenda 2030 here. Alice Bailey, and I want to tie in Lucis Trust. So for those of you that don't know, and I mentioned this again in a video talking about Donald Trump and the externalization of the hierarchy, and I'll read it to you in a second. But for anyone that doesn't know, the Lucis Trust was located in United Nations Plaza in New York City, where the UN headquarters are located at address 666 UN Plaza. And for anyone out there that doesn't know, well, what is the Lucis Trust? Well, the Lucis Trust, even if you go on their website, and look for yourself so you don't think that it's some type of a conspiracy. The Lucis Trust, of course, was established by Alice and Foster Bailey as a vehicle to foster recognition of the universal spiritual principles at the heart of all work to build right relations. The trust was incorporated in the state of New Jersey on April 5th, 1922. If you look below, it says a publishing company, that's Lucis Trust, initially was named Lucifer Publishing Company, which was established by Alice and Foster Bailey. If you continue on, it says the ancient myth of Lucifer refers to the angel who brought light to the world, and it is assumed that the name was applied to the publishing company in honor of a journal which had been edited for a number of years, and Theosophical founder H.P. Blavatsky, that's Madame Blavatsky, who is openly members, these are high-ranking witches that they're still followed today, like Aleister Crowley, members of the Golden Dawn. Right, so they openly admit, oh yeah, H.P. Blavatsky, inspired by H.P. Blavatsky, who is a Luciferian, who is a witch, who is somebody who openly admits to Thelema and these absolute satanic cults that they're in, right? So there's your connection between Lucis Trust, which was once Lucifer Publishing, which was once located at 666 UN Plaza. Then you have Blavatsky connected to it as well. And of course they call it a myth, right? They want people to believe that Lucifer is a myth. And the externalization of the hierarchy, I want to read it to you because it's important with where we are and the date 2025, because this was written in 1957. Thus, a great and new movement is proceeding and a tremendously increased interplay and interaction is taking place. This will go on until AD 2025. During the years intervening between now and then, very great changes will be seen taking place, and at the Great Assembly of the Hierarchy held as usual every century in 2025, the date in all probability will be set for the first stage of the externalization of the hierarchy. The present cycle from now until that date is called technically the stage of the forerunner. It is preparatory in nature, testing in its methods, and intended to be revelatory in its techniques and results. You can see, therefore, that Kohans, masters, initiates, world disciples, and aspirants affiliated with the hierarchy are all at this time passing through a cycle of great activity. So I'm showing you the connection between the United Nations because of the carbon footprint, to show you that this is what Lucifer's plan is for humanity, to enslave all of humanity all over the earth. The UN are the ones who are going to bring about zero carbon emissions. They're the ones who are going to bring about carbon footprints with carbon taxes. The UN is directly connected with Lucis Trust, which was once Lucifer Publishing, which tells you what? Well, it tells you that we're talking about the occult and how this goes back to the occult and Alice Bailey and Madame Blavatsky and their teachings, right? And you could even go, because this is where it's really incredible, because we know the common sheeple is going to go to Wikipedia for their information, right? And they're going to go, let me see what Lucis Trust is. If you go to Lucis Trust and you want to see their connection to the United Nations, even though it's on the United Nations website, it's on the Lucis Trust website. Literally, they're partners. It's a partner. Lucis Trust is a partner of the United Nations, okay? But really, Lucis Trust is running and one with the United Nations, right? So you go to the bottom, it says, Lucis Trust runs a blog, World Goodwill, which focuses on defining new sustainable development goals for humanity, which is Agenda 2030. And all of this stuff is going to be brought in by that great magician, as Marina Abramovich called him, Donald Trump. He is the greatest magician.
One really funny opinion, but there is in Lapland, there is a group of the shamans there who do something called collective dreaming. They will go together in seclusion and do the rituals with, eating very little food and being in a solitude for a long time, and they will go and dream the dreams, and the dream have to be collective same dream. So coming out of this dream, once the shaman told me that actually the best thing happened in this planet right now is the Trump to be the president. I said, how is this possible? It's the best thing to happen. He said, yes, because he's so irrational, he's so crazy. That's actually create that awakening that we finally wake up. Because before it will be another guy and everything looks similar. But he's so different than anything else. So he's the magician who waking us up. What do you think about that? That kind of theory. Trump is the best thing happened ever to us. Huh? That he is magician of the highest order, that he is there in his irrational mind to create confusion in order that the human being can find new order. And it's not so stupid thinking about this in that way. It's completely turning things upside down.
And you're seeing the sorcery all around us. These guys who pretend that they're Republican or anti-UN, they're pretending to be anti-UN, just like they're pretending to be against the World Economic Forum, and then they're there speaking, like Donald Trump does, right? Like Marco Rubio is just at the United Nations headquarters. And I want to show you a quick video for anyone out there that wants to see just how satanic it is inside of the UN. They have this meditation room. They have these murals inside of there like we see at Davos, right? Where it's right in front of you, where you can see that they actually do worship Lucifer, that they are actually performing witchcraft. They have altars inside of these buildings. Take a look at this clip about the UN.
United Nations headquarters, which was built in 1945 and financed largely by John D. Rockefeller. Inside UN headquarters is an ominous meditation room. The custodian of the meditation room is Lucis Trust Company. At one time, the Lucis Trust was located at 666 United Nations Plaza and was formerly named Lucifer Publishing Company. The Rockefeller-funded UN meditation room is 33 feet long and 18 feet wide. 18 feet is 6 plus 6 plus 6. The small, dimly lit, windowless room was built in the shape of a pyramid that is laying on its side. At the center of the room is a 4-foot-high, black, casket-shaped stone slab, which weighs 6.5 tons and is extremely magnetic and rests on a concrete pillar. The pillar descends beneath the floor into the bedrock and taps into the Earth's hyperdimensional energies to induce a state of altered consciousness. Not far from the meditation room is the United Nations Security Council chamber. This is the emergency room of the UN, where the world leaders meet when there is a threat to peace. They decide the fate of nations. Notice the giant mural that towers over the Security Council room. The central focus of the UN mural is the phoenix bird that has risen. The phoenix bird is a symbol of Lucifer. Egyptians believed that the phoenix symbolized a god who rose to heaven in the form of a morning star like Lucifer after his fire immolation of death and rebirth. Notice that the phoenix bird is not standing above his own ashes. He is standing above his old skin. Like a snake, he has shed his old skin and is revealing himself as God at the center of the mural. At the top left, there is a church steeple without a cross. The missing cross symbolizes the death of Christianity. Below, a woman receives the rays of the sun god, while the man in front of her plays Pan's flute. To their right are two pyramid symbols and people joined together by a long blue serpent-like cloth. Below the risen phoenix, a sword is driven through a dragon beast. This represents the killing of old beliefs and religions that depicted Lucifer as a beast. The New World religion worships him as beautiful. Behind the phoenix, the ghostly figures of the walking dead are stepping into a void. They symbolize depopulation. On the right panel, the pale horse from the book of Revelation is the bringer of death to humanity through weapons, hunger, and disease. The man is releasing him. The chained black man represents slavery, while the top panel of the mural shows a technologically advanced white race who control industry, art, and science. In this post-apocalyptic mural, the military man standing on the tail of the beast represents worldwide military power. He tips his helmet to the elite, who are climbing out from underground cities where they safely hid from the apocalypse. In the main oval panel above the phoenix bird, a woman is holding flowers. She is the bride in a wedding ceremony. The serpent in human form is tempting the little girl Eve, who accepts the apple. On the right side of the top panel, a reptilian green creature with scaly skin is dancing with a naked woman while musicians entertain him. The general message of the UN's Phoenix Rising mural is that humanity is stepping into a new Luciferic reality. Beneath this disturbingly prophetic mural, world leaders make global decisions that affect the lives of nearly 7 billion people.
So that should be a wake-up call for people when they even see a mural like that. Explain it to us then if we're all just deciding that this is what it is. Well, it's art. You can interpret it however you want. Well, anybody with common sense can interpret that using common sense, could see that. Well, that's not normal. That's not normal for world leaders to meet there and conspire against the people of the earth and have murals like that that literally show the Phoenix rising, show the end of humanity, enslaving humans, right? And all of it comes through this carbon tax. That's why it's very important to pay attention to all of the things that are going on with the United Nations, all the things that they talk about openly. UN, World Economic Forum, same thing. They're all just different organizations with titles that gives them more of, oh, they're meeting here, they're meeting there. It's the same people that go and attend all of these, the Bilderberg meetings. We know that it's all the same people. So while everyone's distracted by all the ridiculous crap that you hear the alt-right media push, pay attention to what's going on with ocean shipping and the carbon tax, because it's coming directly from the UN, who is going to go through with this. You can almost guarantee that they are, because right now everyone's paying attention to what? Tariffs and their stocks, their 401ks. And the majority of people don't know what it means to have a carbon tax. Only Canadians right now really know. Some people in the UK might know, right? But they aren't looking at it from the standpoint of the businesses, and they might say, well, they're gonna put a carbon tax on the shipping, which means that the consumer's gonna pay more. It's bigger than that. Because once it's implemented, once we start hearing about a carbon tax, once it starts showing up on your bills and your receipts, you know, when you get a paper receipt, which is rare these days, but just say you get one hypothetically, right, from a store, and it has all the, you're like, what is this tax, that tax? You'll start seeing a carbon tax. You'll start wondering what it is. You'll start hearing the media try to explain it to you, right? And then they'll start tying in behavioral control and how, well, all of these tornadoes and hurricanes that we're creating and how we're killing people and not reporting on it on the news. Yeah, well, that's because of carbon emissions. So if you don't want to get hit with a tornado, we need to change our behavior now. That's what's coming in the future by 2030. They're going to start talking about the tornadoes and the things that they're creating with weather modification and geoengineering. And they're going to say, look, we're all in this together. Nobody wants to get wiped out by a tornado, right? Nobody will look to them and say, wait, you're responsible. You could easily do these things, right? We could see that they can create tornadoes pretty easily. They sell tornado kits for you to buy at a store. You don't think they can do that on a mass scale? Of course they can, right? 150 tornadoes the other day. You don't hear boo from the media talking about it, right? So they're going to say, look, the only way to stop this is that we all have to do something. Otherwise, the whole earth is going to get wiped out by this weather. And then they're going to say, okay, what can we do? And they're going to say, well, look, we're implementing this. You have to follow. You don't have a choice. Now that we're doing everything digitally with a digital ID and everything's online and we're cashless, there's going to be a carbon footprint attached. You're going to go, I don't even know what that is. I already have universal basic income, so what is it? And it's going to go, well, with your universal basic income, we're going to monitor everything you do. And go, all right, I don't do anything bad. Well, they're going to go, yeah, but you were outside for an hour, right? Yeah, it was. Well, that's not good because your carbon emissions affecting the environment, which is causing all this bad weather to happen and everything else, right? Climate change, right? And you're going to go, I don't get it. And they're going to go, look, it's you. You're the carbon we're trying to reduce now. We already reduced everything else. Nobody's driving gas-powered cars. You all listen to us and enslaved yourself. Now the next step, because the carbon we want to get rid of is you. And you go, I don't want to die. And they go, well, then listen, this is what you got to do. Your home's already a smart home. You were dumb enough to make it one. Now you got to stay inside. Okay? And if you go outside, there's going to be a problem. Because if you go above your allotted time of an hour, well, guess what? We're going to dox that time from next week, and you won't be allowed to go outside next week, and we'll take it away out of your account so you can't go and buy that plant-based burger that you don't want in the first place that we're forcing you to eat. They're going to control every aspect of living, from what you eat, what you wear, how often you shower, how often you can flush the toilet. That's what the carbon tax is leading to, the carbon footprint. And we can't allow them to get away with this, but people are too dumb to realize what it actually is. They tell you what it is. Go look it up if you think I'm just, he's too extreme about it. Go look it up. Go look up what the carbon footprint is. Go listen to these guys at the World Economic Forum tell you, we're establishing a carbon footprint so we could track Every movement you make. That was the whole point of COVID from the first place, other than getting people to poison themselves. The whole point was that they could start getting you to live the way that you're going to live, like a prisoner, and seeing if you'll listen. Will you social distance? Will you wear a mask? Will you stay indoors? Will you listen to curfew, right? And then eventually, when this is all in place, people will probably start waking up and it'll be too late. Because they'll go outside and they'll say, you can go outside for 1 hour. That's your allotted time for your carbon footprint. And you go, okay, go outside. And you come inside and they go, the electricity's going off. It's only going to be on from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. You go, okay. And you take a shower. Okay, lights off at 8. And you go, wait, lights off at 8? That sounds like, wait a minute, am I a prisoner? Because that sounds a lot like the way prisoners live. You're telling me I get an hour recess. You're telling me that the power goes off, lights off. You're literally going to shut it off. Right? You're going to play with my thermostat. You're going to control everything, right? Oh, wait, I am a prisoner. How did we get here? Well, we continued to fight with one another over ridiculous things by design from them, right? Making regular people fight every single day about gender and all this other crap, right? And then we gave them control because we allowed ourselves to bring this technology into our home. Every time they came out with some new smart tech, we allowed it to happen. And every time they said, hey, we're not going to make refrigerators anymore that aren't smart refrigerators, people just said, oh, okay. And then they just bought the newest smart refrigerator because they said, whatever, I guess it's just an extra feature. And they realized, wait a minute, somebody can control this from an outside source? That's right, they can. And you know that smart meter on your house? They can also blow your home up with it, right? Just ask some of the people in Los Angeles. That's what we're headed towards, and it's all thanks to the United Nations. And their direct connection, of course, is to who else? The father of lies, right? A murderer from the beginning, Satan himself. I thank everybody for being here. I hope you're all doing well. God bless all of you and your families as always.